Hey everyone. If you're a gun owner in America, listen up. Because everything you thought you knew about your rights just got turned upside down. Thanks to some landmark Supreme Court decisions, especially the Bruin case. The entire rulebook for how gun laws are judged is being rewritten. We're not talking about minor tweaks here. We're talking about fundamental, ground-shaking shifts in how our constitutional rights are protected. So today, I'm going to break down 10 of the most critical changes that are happening right now. Understanding these could be the difference between exercising your rights freely and stumbling into a world of legal trouble. So, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button, because this is information you absolutely need to know. Let's get into it. Why everything is changing. Before we get to the list, you need to understand the one thing that makes all the other changes possible. This is the master key. The Supreme Court has officially elevated the Second Amendment to the highest level of constitutional protection. In legal terms, this is called strict scrutiny. What does that mean for you? It means the government can't just pass a gun law because it feels like a good idea. Now, they have to prove they have an absolutely compelling reason for any restriction, and that they're using the least restrictive method possible. The burden of proof has flipped. It's no longer on you to prove you deserve your rights. It's on them to justify any attempt to limit them. This one principle is the earthquake that's making thousands of old gun laws crumble. Your personal freedoms: buying, carrying, and traveling. Okay, with that foundation laid, let's look at how this impacts your day-to-day life. First up, buying ammo is finally becoming normal again. Let's be honest, the hoops some states made us jump through were ridiculous. A gun without ammo is just a paperweight, and the courts have finally recognized that simple fact. This means all that bureaucratic nonsense is on its way out. California can't make you get a background check just for a box of 9mm. New York can't outright ban you from buying ammo online and having it shipped to your door. Connecticut can't tell you how many rounds you're allowed to purchase. Buying ammunition should be as simple as buying any other legal product. And now, the law is on our side. Next, getting a carry permit is becoming straightforward. For years, living in a state like California, New York, or New Jersey meant the government could deny your right to carry based on some subjective, good cause standard. You basically had to prove to a bureaucrat that you were important enough or in enough danger to deserve your rights. Well, those days are over. The Supreme Court laid down 3 non-negotiable rules for carry permits. 1. They must be processed within 30 days. No more letting your application gather dust for a year. If they don't act, it's considered approved. 2. No more subjective good cause requirements. The Second Amendment itself is your good cause. 3. Fees can't exceed $50. They can't price you out of your own rights. This is a massive win that turns a government-granted privilege back into a constitutional right. And that brings us to travel. Traveling across state lines with your firearms just got a whole lot less stressful. You know that feeling? That knot in your stomach when you're driving from a free state like Pennsylvania and your route takes you through New Jersey on your way to Vermont. We've all been there. Thanks to federal law, specifically the Firearm Owners Protection Act, you now have what's essentially a safe passage guarantee. The rule is simple. If your firearm is legal where your trip starts and legal where it ends, you are protected for the entire journey. And it gets better. This doesn't just mean keeping it locked in the trunk. During legitimate stops for gas, food, or an overnight hotel stay, if you have a valid carry permit, you can legally carry, regardless of local restrictions. If you ever get pulled over, the magic words are, "Officer, I am traveling under federal interstate protection." Your property and privacy. The Castle Doctrine. All right, let's talk about your home and your data, because big changes are happening there too. First, your home is truly your castle again, legally speaking. Federal agents can no longer just show up at your door for a compliance check, simply because you own guns or have an FFL. Those days of random, warrantless inspections are done. Now they need a warrant based on actual evidence of a crime, not just the fact that you're in the gun business or have a collection. Whether you're a home-based FFL run a shooting range, or just have a safe full of firearms, the government has to respect your property rights. If they come knocking, your response is simple and polite. Do you have a warrant with specific criminal allegations? If not, you cannot search my property. Next, your digital life is being made private again. For a while now, there's been some sneaky stuff going on. Government agencies tracking your location when you visit a gun store, monitoring your online ammo purchases, even building profiles based on your social media activity. The courts have slammed the door on this, ruling it illegal. They can't use the lawful exercise of a constitutional right as an excuse for constant surveillance. Your phone data, credit card history, and browser searches related to legal gun ownership are now protected. If anyone demands access, your answer is clear. Digital surveillance of lawful gun owners is prohibited, and I do not consent to any searches of my devices or records. And this is a huge one. Gun registries are being deleted. The federal government has been ordered to delete all of its digitized gun owner records. We're talking about millions of entries, within 90 days. The courts confirmed that maintaining these searchable databases is a direct violation of federal law. Period. Even more, any state that shares its gun owner data with federal agencies is now participating in an illegal registry and has to stop immediately. This is the biggest blow to the idea of a backdoor national gun registry that we have seen in our lifetime. Holding authority accountable. This next section is where the power dynamic truly shifts. First, taking your guns now requires actual criminal charges. The era of gun confiscation without due process is ending. Red flag laws that allow police to seize your firearms based on an accusation without you being arrested or charged with a crime are being struck down as unconstitutional. Civil asset forfeiture of firearms is over. The Supreme Court was crystal clear. No seizure without an arrest, formal charges, and a day in court. No more, "We're just taking these while we investigate," or "Someone said you might be dangerous." And finally, the one that changes everything. Police officers can now be held personally liable. For decades, the doctrine of qualified immunity shielded officers from personal lawsuits, even if they violated your rights. That shield is now gone for Second Amendment violations. If an officer illegally confiscates your legally owned firearm or arrests you for lawful carry, they can now face personal financial liability. We're talking multi-million-dollar judgments, potential federal prosecution, career-ending consequences. The court's logic was simple. If a regular person should know that's a violation of the Constitution, then a trained police officer definitely should. As a result, departments nationwide are scrambling to retrain their officers. For the business owners. Last but not least, for anyone who is an FFL or thinking of becoming one, running a gun business is finally getting real legal protection. The ATF can no longer use vague rules or play gotcha games with minor paperwork errors to try and shut you down. Gun businesses are now getting the same protections as any other legitimate form of commerce. They have to process FFL applications within 60 days, not drag them out for months. Arbitrary harassment is no longer being tolerated. So, what does all this mean? It means we are living through the most comprehensive restoration of Second Amendment rights in generations. These aren't just technicalities. These are real-world protections. But they only work if you know about them and are prepared to stand up for them. Now, of course, I'm not a lawyer, and you should always be aware of your specific local laws, as the legal landscape is still shifting. But make no mistake, the ground is moved firmly in our favor. Stay informed, know your rights, and stay safe out there. Thanks for watching.